What if the next global crisis doesn't begin in Europe or Asia, but in the deserts of the Middle East? What if a regional confrontation between Iran and Israel pulls the United States into a wider conflict? And what if the real battlefield isn't just military, but economic, strategic, and global? Right now, tensions between Iran and Israel have escalated to levels not seen in years. Missile strikes, drone operations, strategic warnings. The United States, Israel's closest ally, is watching closely and positioning carefully. But this isn't just about rockets and retaliation. This is about influence, power, deterrence, and the fragile balance that has held the region together for decades. To understand what may happen next, we must first understand how we got here. Part 1. The origins of rivalry. The tension between Iran and Israel is not a sudden development. For decades, the two nations have stood on opposite sides of the regional power structure. After the 1979 Iranian Revolution, Tehran's foreign policy shifted dramatically. Israel was no longer seen as a distant state, but as a strategic adversary. Israel, in turn, viewed Iran's regional ambitions and support for armed groups across the Middle East as a growing security threat. What followed was not open warfare, but a prolonged shadow conflict. Cyber operations targeting infrastructure, intelligence missions beyond borders, alleged covert actions on strategic facilities. Both sides avoided direct full-scale war, but neither backed down. The conflict remained contained until now. Part 2. Why tensions are rising now. So what changed? Recent years have seen a reshaping of Middle Eastern alliances. New diplomatic agreements between Israel and several Arab states altered regional dynamics. At the same time, Iran expanded its regional influence through allied groups across Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and beyond. Military activity increased. Precision missile capabilities advanced. Drone warfare became more sophisticated. Each side believes deterrence is necessary for survival. But deterrence can quickly become escalation, and escalation can spiral beyond control. Part 3. The United States, Strategic Balancer. The United States has long maintained a strategic presence in the Middle East. Energy security, military alliances, counter-terrorism operations. Stability in this region has direct implications for global markets and American foreign policy. Washington's support for Israel is deeply rooted in political, military, and strategic ties. However, direct involvement in a major regional war would present difficult challenges: resource strain, political pressure domestically, risk of broader international confrontation. The U.S. faces a delicate balancing act, demonstrating commitment without triggering uncontrollable escalation. Part 4. The Economic Dimension. Why does this matter beyond the region? Because the Middle East sits at the heart of global energy flows. Oil supply routes pass through narrow maritime choke points. Energy markets respond instantly to geopolitical instability. Even limited disruptions can influence global inflation, currency strength, and stock market volatility. A larger conflict could result in energy price spikes, disrupted trade corridors, increased defense spending, financial market uncertainty. In today's interconnected economy, a regional war does not remain regional, it becomes global. Part 5. Military Strategy and Deterrence. Modern warfare is no longer defined only by tanks and airstrikes, cyber capabilities, satellite intelligence, drone swarms, electronic warfare. Both Iran and Israel have invested heavily in asymmetric strategies, methods designed to offset conventional disadvantages. This creates a high-risk environment because the more advanced the technology, the faster escalation can occur. One miscalculation, one misinterpreted signal, and the entire region could shift. Part 6. 3 possible futures. Scenario 1. Controlled containment. Diplomatic channels quietly reduce tensions. Limited exchanges remain symbolic. The conflict stabilizes without major expansion. Scenario 2. Prolonged regional instability. Indirect confrontations continue. Regional actors become involved. Economic pressure builds gradually. Scenario 3. Full-scale regional conflict. Direct military engagement expands. Multiple countries are drawn in. Global powers reassess alliances. This scenario would reshape Middle Eastern geopolitics for a generation. Part 7. The strategic question. At its core, this is not just about ideology. It is about influence and deterrence. Who shapes the regional order? Who controls strategic corridors? Who maintains security guarantees? The balance of power in the Middle East has always been fragile, and fragile systems can shift quickly. Conclusion. History teaches us that conflicts often begin with limited objectives, but unintended consequences can expand them. Iran seeks deterrence and regional leverage. Israel seeks security and preemption of threats. The United States seeks stability and strategic balance. Whether these goals collide or align will determine what happens next. The Middle East has long been a crossroads of civilizations. Now it may once again become the center of global attention. The question is not just who will win. The question is whether escalation can be avoided before strategy turns into crisis.